Revealed, how an Apache gave up his farms for a son and discovered incredible love with a widow. Eli stood amidst the cracked earth of his fields, a rugged warrior of the soil, wrestling with the bitter taste of loss. The wind whispered through the rows, but both crops and dreams were fading. Years of toil turned into dust, and as he squinted into the horizon, the weight of the world rested heavily on his shoulders. He wasn't just losing his beloved land, he felt the ache of his son, Jack, who had walked away, seeking glory in the military, and left Eli to fight the silent battle alone. The townsfolk marveled at Eli's strength, yet they didn't see the cracks in his heart. It amazed him still how a father could carry so much resentment alongside love. They wrestled within him like two wolves. Jack had traded the old ways for a uniform, and Eli often felt betrayed. And yet, beneath the anger lurked a desperate longing for reconciliation, an overwhelming hope that maybe his son would find his way back. With summer's grip tightening, news spread like wildfire: Jack was coming home. Eli's emotions were a tempest, relief weaving in with reluctant anger. Memories of sleepless nights flooded back, anger at Jack's absence during the hardest seasons. How could he be proud of a boy who had abandoned the very roots that fed their family? In a small town filled with hushed conversations, another heart struggled. Lucy, a widow, fought daily against waves of grief, managing her two small children while juggling multiple jobs. Tired eyes hidden behind forced smiles, she wrestled with how to hold on to her love while trying to stand tall for her kids. One day at the market, their paths crossed. Eli's weathered face met her sadness in a moment that felt like lightning. They exchanged words of sympathy, tentative smiles breaking the barriers between them. As they struck up an unspoken alliance amidst shared loss, an ember of connection ignited between them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As summer wore on, Eli and Lucy began to feel the stirring of something new, a bond built on understanding in a community rife with judgment. Whispers threaded around them, the townspeople eyeing their connection with skepticism. Yet, in every secret glance, hope fluttered at the edges, promising a chance at healing. But the drought struck, unforgiving and merciless, swallowing up their dreams. The townspeople, once supportive, grew desperate. Eli watched as crops withered, parched earth mocking his efforts. His heart raced with mounting fear as he realized he needed Jack now more than ever. But would his son, haunted by the past, find a way to bridge their chasm? The storm of emotions brewed, eclipsed by the impending crisis. Eli needed to rally his land, but bonded by their shared heartache, would Eli and Jack rise to the challenge or remain haunted by regret? The fate of the farm and their fragile relationship was teetering on the brink, and every moment danced with the promise of transformations yet to come. Eli's heart hammered against his chest as he attempted to shake off the unease that had settled in. Jack's return loomed like a thunderous storm, and the drought was bearing down on him just the same. He could already see the journey ahead, yet the path was obscured by the weight of unspoken words. What would he say to his son after all this time? How could they mend what had been so irrevocably torn apart? As the days dragged on, Eli threw himself into work, toiling beneath the relentless sun. Each step through the dry soil felt like an act of defiance. If he could coax even a bud from the earth, maybe it would symbolize more than just crops, perhaps it could represent a life where he and Jack could begin anew. But with his hands raw and blistered, hope seemed like a cruel joke. Lucy noticed the shift in Eli. She'd seen him in the market, shoulders tense and gait heavy, and felt his struggle echo within her own life. The loneliness of losing her husband had carved a deep crevice in her heart, one that threatened to swallow her whole. Yet, she found herself inexplicably drawn to Eli, compelled to share the burden of grief. Without thinking, she sought him out, finding the courage to bridge the gap that their losses had carved. "Eli, can I help you with anything?" Her gentle voice broke through his fog of despair one evening as they stood overlooking the fields. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in fiery hues, mirroring the turmoil within them. Eli looked at her, surprise flickering in his eyes. Her presence warmed something frozen in him, a reminder of the better days he often kept buried. "Maybe, a chat," he replied, the words tumbling out awkwardly. They settled on a broken log, the sound of the distant crickets forming a rhythmic backdrop to their hesitant conversation. As dusk descended, they shared stories, tales of lost loves, of sons who sought to prove themselves far from home, and of the burdens that threatened to crush their spirits. For the first time in what felt like forever, Eli dared to let someone in, bared his heart, trembling with vulnerability. "I didn't want Jack to leave," he confessed, voice low. "I've watched our world slip away, but I don't blame him. He needed to find himself. I just wish he could have found himself here, with me." Lucy nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. She leaned closer, her hand brushing against his. It was electric, a simple touch, but it ignited something fragile and hopeful in both of them. "Sometimes, it takes losing everything to realize what truly matters," she said softly. Their eyes locked, a quiet understanding passing between them, two souls woven together by pain and yearning. But just as their connection felt like it could blossom into something more, the sky rumbled ominously. The clouds gathered, dark and heavy above them, mirroring the gathering storm in their hearts. What if Jack returned to find Eli with someone else? Would that be the final nail in their already fragile relationship? As the first drops of rain fell, Eli's mind spun with possibilities. Could he truly mend things with Jack, even as new feelings stirred for Lucy? Would a storm of another kind wash away the past or draw them all closer together? And as they hurried back towards the house, caught in the downpour, questions hung in the air, echoing the uncertainty of their lives. Would they have the strength to face the challenges ahead, or would the past consume them all over again? As the rain cascaded down, soaking Eli and Lucy to their skins, the world around them blurred into a scene of swirling colors. But within the storm's embrace, Eli felt an unexpected clarity begin to form. The crashing thunder rang in his ears, but it was also a call one he couldn't ignore. How long could he stay hidden in his grief, wearing it like a shield? The droplets splattered against the earth, each one resonating with Eli's heavy heart. He could feel Lucy's south warmth close beside him, her hand grasping his as they dashed towards the house. The world outside had become tumultuous, yet in that moment, the chaos surged with a bittersweet sense of possibility, urging him to confront what lay ahead. Once inside, they stood together in the dim light, breathless from their escape from nature's fury. Water dripped from Lucy's hair, mingling with the light flickering from the kerosene lamp. Eli watched as she moved about, her silhouette framed by shadows, and for a moment, the ache in his heart softened. These still moments felt sacred, reminding him that even in loss, life could find a way to flourish. "Would you like some tea?" Eli offered, his voice a low rumble. The question broke the silence that clung between them like the humidity in the air. Lucy smiled, the corners of her mouth lifting as though a heavy weight had shifted. "I'd love some." Eli busied himself at the small stove, the kettle filling with water, and looked over at her. "You know, I've been so focused on Jack's return, I didn't realize I needed someone to talk to. Thank you for being here." Her gaze softened, and for a moment, they shared a silence filled with unspoken understanding. "We're both navigating storms, maybe together we can find some shelter." The kettle whistled, steam drifting into the room. Eli poured the tea into two chipped mugs, their simple shapes an echo of the lives they had led. He handed her a mug, their fingertips brushing again, igniting that spark, that unspoken promise of what could be. But just as their tentative bond began to feel steady, a loud bang interrupted the moment. Eli's heart skipped, and he turned to the source of the noise, a figure framed in the doorway, silhouetted against the dim light. It was Jack. "Dad?" His voice trembled, carrying the weight of years lost and words left unsaid. Eli's heart twisted painfully, caught between feelings of relief and dread. In that instant, everything shifted. Eli's breath caught as he faced the son he had both missed and feared for so long. He felt Lucy's presence behind him, a reminder of their fragile moment, and he knew without asking that everything would change from here. Jack's return marked the beginning of a confrontation that had been long overdue. The tension hung thick in the air, electric with anticipation. Would he have the courage to bridge the chasm between them? Would Jack even want to rebuild what felt so irrevocably shattered? "Dad," Jack started again, searching for the words to guide him home, but the rest remained trapped in uncertainty. As Eli searched his son's face, desperation and hope collided in his chest. The storm outside might have passed, but a new tempest brewed within, demanding resolution. Would they find a way to mend the fractures, or would another storm tear them apart? And in that charged uncertainty, Eli realized, perhaps their journey toward healing was only just beginning. Eli stood frozen, his gaze locked on Jack. The years stretched between them like an unbridgeable gap, filled with silent apologies and dreams unspoken. He felt Lucy's presence behind him, her quiet strength nudging him toward courage. "Jack," he finally managed, his voice breaking through the haze of his thoughts, "is that really you?" Jack stepped inside, shaking off the rain like a weary traveler returning home. The soft glow from the lamp highlighted his disheveled hair and the lines etched into his youthful face. "Yeah, Dad. It's me." The words fell from his lips, tentative yet steady. Eli's heart raced. He stepped forward, wanting to close the distance, but every step felt heavy with the weight of the past. I thought you were gone for good." Hope flickered like the lamp flame, fragile yet persistent. Jack's eyes darkened, pulling Eli deeper into the storm of emotions swirling between them. "I was lost. I didn't know how to come back." He paused, glancing at Lucy, an unfamiliar face in their long-shattered routine. "But your message, it brought me back." That message, Eli began, but the words tangled as he fought to voice the fears that haunted him for years. "I didn't know if you'd want to hear from me. It hurt to think you weren't thinking about home at all." "I was, Dad. I just didn't know how to ask for help." Jack's voice cracked, and Eli felt a pang of regret for all the times he wished Jack could have reached out. Eli took a breath and closed the gap a bit more. "You're here now, that's what matters." He glanced back at Lucy, who watched with an expression of quiet support. There was a flicker of understanding between them, a promise that they weren't alone in their storms. "Can we talk? Just the two of us?" Jack asked, a hint of vulnerability breaking through his tough exterior. Eli nodded, sensing this was a moment they both desperately needed. He guided his son toward the small table, the space between them charged with anticipation. He gestured for Jack to sit, the conversation beginning to unearth truths buried beneath years of silence. "What happened? Why did you really leave?" Eli's question hung in the air, raw and urgent. Jack hesitated, his hands tightening around the mug as if it could shield him from the past. "I thought I could find myself out there. But it was a lie. I was just running, feeling like I was never enough for you. For Mom, I didn't want to face the truth." Eli's heart twisted at the mention of Jack's mother. "You were always enough. More than I could have hoped for." Tears misted his eyes as the weight of lost years pressed down hard. "But you know what? We can't keep letting the past tear us apart. We can build something new." "No, it's not that easy." Jack's voice rose slightly, a mixture of anger and pain. "You don't understand what I've gone through. Then help me understand." Eli pushed back, the tension sharpening around them. "Tell me what you need from me. I want to help you through this if you'll let me." Lucy lingered at the edge of the conversation, her heart racing at the exchange, unsure whether this would tear them apart once more or draw them closer. Eli's voice resonated with urgency and passion, and Jack's eyes flickered with a range of emotions: defiance, vulnerability, longing for something to mend what had been broken. As Jack finally lifted his gaze, Eli felt the urgency of this moment, a crack of connection breaking through their pain, but would it be enough to pull them back from the brink? With a deep breath, Jack spoke words that would redefine everything. "Okay, but there are things you don't know, things I'm not proud of, and I need you to hear me out." And with those words, Eli understood the journey toward healing had just begun, but even the brightest realization comes wrapped in shadows. Would the truth lead to reconciliation, or would it unravel even more? The air buzzed with a mixture of hope and dread as they prepared to sink into uncharted territory together. Jack took a deep breath, the tension in the room thickening as he searched for the right words. His hands trembled slightly around the mug, and Eli could sense how much he was holding back. "Dad, I messed up, a lot. I did things I'm not proud of," he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Eli's heart sank. "Just tell me, Jack. Whatever it is, we'll face it together," Eli encouraged gently, leaning in closer. He needed to show Jack that no matter how dark the storm, they could weather it together. Jack's gaze fell to the table, the chipped wood absorbing the weight of his shame. "I got involved with the wrong people. There were drugs, and money, and I thought that was my escape." The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered. "I thought it would help me cope, help me forget." Each revelation hit Eli like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a boy running away, this was a young man drowning in his own choices. "But it didn't, did it?" Eli asked softly. "No," Jack answered, his voice thick with emotion. "It just pushed me further into darkness. I thought I could find freedom, but all I found was a deeper hole." As those words lingered, Eli felt a surge of compassion. He couldn't fathom the struggles, the nights filled with fear and regret. Yet, even in his own heartache, there was a flicker of hope. "You found your way back to me, Jack. That says something." Jack finally lifted his head, meeting Eli's eyes, searching for understanding. "I just don't want to disappoint you again. You've been through so much already. We've all made mistakes. It's part of being human. What matters now is how we move forward." Eli's voice was steadier than he felt, but he wanted to convey strength, to anchor Jack when everything felt adrift. "You're home, and we can work through this together. No more running." Lucy watched from the periphery, her heart aching for both of them. The bond between father and son was fragile, yet here they were, stitching it back together with every heartfelt admission. She stepped closer, her voice soft yet firm. "Jack, you're not alone in this. You have your dad and me. We're family, and we'll figure this out together." Jack's expression shifted, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "But what if I mess up again?" "Then we'll face it again," Eli reassured, emotion thick in his throat. "We're committed to seeing this through. We won't let the past dictate our future." Jack nodded slowly, the heavy burden of uncertainty lifting just a bit. "I want to believe that, but it feels impossible sometimes." "No, it's not." Eli leaned in, urgency fueling his words. "You've already taken a huge step by coming back. You're strong, Jack. Stronger than you realize." A rare smile flickered across Jack's face, tentative but genuine. It was a flicker of hope, and Eli held onto it as if it were a lifeline. But then Jack's expression shifted again, a veil of worry slipping over his features. "There's more, Dad. There's something else I need to tell you, something that might change everything." Eli felt his heart race. "What is it?" With a deep breath, Jack leaned in, his voice almost a whisper. "I got involved with someone who had her own troubles." The room pulsed with anticipation. What was he about to unveil that could alter everything? Eli exchanged a quick glance with Lucy, who looked equally concerned. As Jack opened his mouth to spill the rest of the truth, the weight of the room pressed down, charged with uncertainty. Would this news bring them closer, or would it fracture the fragile repair they had just begun? Jack hesitated, his eyes darting between Eli and Lucy. The silence felt heavy, like a thick fog settling over them, and he struggled to breathe through it. "Her name is Mia," he finally said, every syllable laced with hesitation. "She's been through a lot, worse than what I faced." Eli felt a mix of concern and protectiveness rise up in him. "What do you mean worse?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. She was in a really bad place," Jack continued, tears brimming in his eyes. "I thought I could help her. I thought that maybe if I could save her, it would save me too. The confession poured out of him like a dam breaking. But instead, it just dragged me deeper. What happened? Eli could barely manage to ask, heart thumping painfully in his chest. She got arrested. The words hung in the air, stark and chilling. Jack pressed his palms against his forehead as if trying to keep the memories at bay. I was with her. We were caught in the wrong place. I was so scared. I thought I'd lose everything again. His voice broke, and he looked away, ashamed. I should have left, but I didn't. I thought I loved her. The revelation hit like a storm. Eli felt the weight of Jack's choices wrapping around him, squeezing hard. Love can be confusing, son, Eli said slowly, choosing his words carefully. But saving someone else can't come at the cost of your own safety. Jack nodded, wiping a tear from his cheek. I know. It just felt right at the time. But now he swallowed hard, looking back up at Eli. Now I don't know what to do. She's still in jail. I didn't think this through. Have you talked to her? Lucy interjected gently, her voice soothing. Maybe you can still support her. I want to, but I'm scared, and I don't know if it's worth it. Jack's voice trembled. What if she pulls me back down? What if she's lost for good? A moment of silence enveloped them. Eli sensed Jack's inner turmoil, the fear gripping him tightly like a vice. You're not responsible for her choices, Jack, Eli said. You can be there for her, but you need to put your own well-being first. You fought hard to come back from your own battles. Don't lose yourself again. Jack closed his eyes, absorbing his father's words. There was a flicker of understanding, a moment of clarity that seemed to brighten his features. Maybe I need to focus on myself, get my life back on track first. Yes, you do. And if Mia is meant to be in your life, it will happen in the right time and way, Eli replied, offering a nod of encouragement. I just don't want to let her down, Jack confessed, anguish crossing his face. I don't want to run away from someone who needs me, but at the same time, I don't want to keep sabotaging my own future. And that's okay, Lucy assured him, reaching out to place her hand on his shoulder. You're learning about boundaries, about love in a healthy way. It's tough. Jack took a deep, shuddering breath. It's so overwhelming. Eli reached forward, grabbing Jack's other hand tightly. One step at a time, son. You're not alone. We'll figure it out. But you have to be honest with yourself and us about how you're feeling. Looking down, Jack felt the warmth of his dad's hands wrapped around his. He felt anchored, but still unsure. What if I get a call about Mia tomorrow? Then we will face that together, Eli said firmly. No matter what happens, we will navigate this. Jack looked between Eli and Lucy, feeling the comfort of their presence, but still wrestling with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The weight of the truth was heavy in the air, yet it felt like a storm was brewing just beyond the horizon. As the door creaked ominously in the distance, Jack wondered if he was ready to face whatever might come next or spiral into the chaos he so feared. But deep down, as he took in the warmth of family around him, he sensed a shift within himself. The real question was whether he had the strength to embrace it. Would he take that leap, or would he falter once again? The next day dawned still and quiet, but the weight of yesterday's conversations clung to Jack like a thick mist. As he paced the kitchen, the smell of coffee brewing filled the air, a small comfort in the haze of his mind. Eli had already left for work, and Lucy was still asleep. Jack's heart raced, an echo of uncertainty pounding in his chest. He stared out the window, watching the leaves flutter against a pale blue sky. What if she calls? The thought gripped him, twisting his stomach into knots. The what-ifs loomed larger than the sun, casting shadows over every hopeful thought he could muster. Then, the sound of his phone vibrating against the counter sliced through the silence. Jack's heart skipped a beat. He reached for it, fingers trembling, and saw an unknown number flashing on the screen. The moment felt loaded, like a tightrope stretched between dread and hope. Hello? He managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. Jack. The voice on the other end was familiar and soothing, but it sent a jolt of anxiety through him. It was one of Mia's friends. "It's Lily. I hope I'm not bothering you." "No, not at all. What is going on?" Jack braced himself, ready to hear news that could either crush him or offer a glimmer of hope. "I spoke to Mia this morning. She wanted me to reach out to you." There was a pause, and Jack's breath caught in his throat. "She's doing okay, but she's scared. She misses you." Jack closed his eyes, emotions swirling inside him. "How is she really, Lily? Is she okay?" "She's struggling a bit. But she said she felt safer knowing you care," Lily said softly. "She wants to talk to you. Can I give her your number? It might help her feel less alone." A tide of emotions washed over Jack. On one hand, he longed to reach out, to wrap his arms around her and tell her everything would be fine. But on the other, he recalled his father's warnings, the caution still fresh in his mind. "I don't know if I should." His voice trailed off, uncertainty flagging every word. "Jack, you care about her. This could mean a lot to her," Lily urged gently. "You can be a lifeline, but you need to protect yourself too." He inhaled deeply, weighing the options. "Okay. I trust you. Give her my number." "Are you sure?" Lily's voice cracked slightly, as if sensing his hesitation. "Yes. I need to know. I need to help, but I have to do it the right way." As soon as he hung up, he felt a rush of adrenaline. The connection was still there, he hadn't lost her yet. But anxiety clenched at him. If he let Mia back into his world, would he be able to stay afloat? Jack's phone buzzed on the counter again. This time, it was a message from Lucy, "Thinking of you. Don't forget to breathe." The simple words pierced through the fog of his fears, anchoring him once more. Jack sat at the kitchen table, heart racing, allowing a small smile to break through. He picked up a pen and began to scribble down his thoughts, words spilling onto the paper in a jumble of feelings and fears. Every word felt like a promise he was writing to himself, a promise to step out of his comfort zone, to confront the heartache and confusion head-on. Still, in the recesses of his mind, doubts flickered like distant shadows. As he pondered the implications of reaching out to Mia, a realization hit him: navigating love and fear was like walking a tightrope. Just then, his phone chimed again, a message notification cutting through the resolve he was building. His heart raced. It was from Mia, a simple "Hey, can we talk?" In that moment, the weight of his previous doubts clashed with an urge to embrace the uncertainty. He stood at the precipice of something that could either heal or hurt. The stakes were higher than ever, and he had to decide. Jack took a deep breath, preparing to either leap forward or pull back. What could he say? What should he do next? The only certainty was that change was coming, and he wouldn't remain the same. But would he have the courage to take that leap? The answer lingered in the air, heavy with possibility. Jack stared at the screen, the words blurring for a moment as his heart thudded heavily in his chest. "Hey, can we talk?" It was casual, but it felt monumental. He couldn't shake the feeling that Mia was reaching for him, swaying back and forth like a pendulum suspended in uncertainty. Suddenly, he was struck with a wave of regret for every moment he had spent apart from her. He could feel the sweat trickling down his brow. Should he respond right away? Or let the tension linger a little longer? The screen glowed, waiting. Each second felt like an eternity. Taking a deep breath, he replied with a quick, "Yes." "Now?" Almost immediately, a message came through. "Okay. I just got off work. Can we meet at the park?" Jack's stomach knotted at the thought of seeing her again. Would it feel like old times, or would there be an awkward distance between them? The park had been their favorite spot, a place filled with laughter, shared secrets, and promises under the stars. But now? Now it was tangled with memories, both beautiful and painful. As he grabbed his keys and slipped on his jacket, anxious energy thrummed through him. The sun was still high, casting long shadows across the floor. He could hear the fading sounds of the kitchen, the hum of the coffee pot and the distant melody of a song from Lucy's playlist. The cozy atmosphere felt unreal against the storm brewing inside him. When he reached the park, the familiar sight of the playground, the twisted paths, and the weeping willow trees felt like a comforting embrace. But even more, it felt like stepping onto a stage where every eye was on him, waiting to witness a pivotal moment. Jack spotted her sitting on a bench, her golden hair illuminated by the sunlight, cascading down her shoulders. She looked both vulnerable and hopeful, a collage of emotions written across her face. Time had changed her, but in a way that added to her beauty. She had grown, but so had the distance between them. "Mia," he called, his voice trembling slightly. Her head snapped up, and those bright eyes locked onto his. A million unsaid words hung heavy in the air. As he approached, every step felt weighty with past regrets, unresolved feelings, and unspoken questions. "Hi, Jack," she whispered, the hesitation in her tone echoing his own uncertainty. "Hi." The sound was soft, almost swallowed by the silence around them. The world seemed to pause, holding its breath as the moment unfolded. They sat in silence for a while, absorbing each other's presence. An awkward reality settled over them, but Jack pushed through it. "You miss me?" A faint smile flickered across her lips, but it faded quickly. "I've missed our talks, just being close." She looked away then, gazing into the distance, as if searching for the right words. Jack's heart swelled. "I've missed you too, Mia." It was true, deeper than he had allowed himself to admit. "I just didn't want to reach out if I wasn't sure how to help you." Her gaze returned to him, piercing through the barrier. "I know I've made mistakes. I thought I could do it on my own, but I can't, Jack. And I don't want to keep pretending I'm okay." Jack reached out, his hand hovering above hers. "You don't have to pretend with me. Let me in." Tears brimmed in her eyes, and Jack felt a surge of urgency. "Mia, it's okay to not be okay. You can lean on me. I want to help." As a tear slipped down her cheek, Jack wiped it away gently. In that moment, everything shifted. The past rushed back, whispering forgotten promises and a bond that defied distance. But just as quickly as hope ignited, doubt crept back in. Could they truly bridge the gap? Was he strong enough to handle her struggles, to face the fuse they had once lit together? Mia paused, searching his eyes for something, perhaps reassurance, perhaps answers. But the questions roared louder, casting a shadow over their reunion. "Jack," her voice trembled, cutting through the haze of emotion. The weight of her words lingered in the air, a prelude to something profound, something that could change everything. And just like that, he realized the ground was shifting beneath them, ready to unveil truths they had long buried. Would he be able to meet her halfway, or was the journey too great? The moment of truth hung there, heavy and electrifying, waiting to plunge them both into the depths of a connection that could heal them if they allowed it. Would they dare to step into the light, facing their fears together? The answer felt almost within reach, but another momentary silence filled the space between them, and Jack's chest tightened. Would love be enough to mend the fractures of their past? Jack's heart raced, the moment stretching into a delicate blend of anticipation and fear. He could see the uncertainty flickering in Mia's eyes. The sunlight danced around them, a stark contrast to the shadows creeping into their conversation. It was like watching a storm brew while standing on a shoreline, knowing the tide could either lift you or sweep you away. "Mia, what is it?" he finally asked, desperation tinging his voice. The flicker of vulnerability in her expression sparked something deep within him, a blend of hope and dread. He wanted to reach through the space between them, to bridge the chasm that had grown since their last encounter. She drew a shaky breath, her lips parting slightly as if the words were a weight she couldn't bear to carry any longer. "I don't want to leave anything unsaid. I've been confused for so long it's like I'm stuck between who I was and who I should be." Her fingers fidgeted in her lap, picking at the fabric of her jeans as if the action could unravel her tangled emotions. Jack leaned closer, his own vulnerability creeping to the surface. "You're not alone, Mia. You haven't been for a long time. I've been here, waiting for you to reach out. Just tell me what you need, and I promise I'll do everything I can. Her eyes shimmered, and for a moment, Jack felt like they were teetering on the edge of something monumental. He could almost taste the weight of her words, the reckless hope mingling with fear. It was more than just a promise, it was an invitation to reshape their reality if she would let him. I am afraid, she finally admitted, her voice almost a whisper in the light breeze. Afraid that if I let you in, I'll only end up hurting you. I don't want to damage you like I did before. Jack shook his head, more fervently than he intended. You're not a burden to me, Mia. We all face our demons. I want to help you fight yours. Together. The last word hung in the air, reverberating with all the unspoken possibilities of their tomorrows. She looked down, her golden hair cascading like a curtain, hiding her expression from him. But he could see that she wrestled with her thoughts, her brow furrowed and her jaw clenched. This was a crossroads, a moment where everything could change for both of them. Mia, he said softly, finally daring to take her hand in his, grounding her in that pivotal moment. Look at me. Reluctantly, she met his gaze. The connection was electric, a lifeline thrown out in turbulent waters. He could feel her hesitation, taste her doubts. But underneath it all, he sensed a flicker of something brighter: hope. Whatever it takes, I'll be here for you. Just lean on me. If we unravel the past together, maybe we can find a way forward. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time, they shimmered with possibility. What if I don't know how? The question hung between them, tremulous and raw. Jack hesitated, searching for the right answer. Then we'll figure it out together. One step at a time. You don't have to know everything right now. Just take that first step with me. As she nodded, the atmosphere charged with potential. It was scary, yet thrilling all at once. They stood on the brink of a new beginning. Mia took a deep breath, her fingers tightening around his. Okay, she said slowly, determination threading her voice. Together. In that moment, the past started to feel a little lighter. Jack's chest swelled with hope, but the weight of the unknown still hung in the air. This was the pivotal moment, yes, but could they really navigate the journey ahead? Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a sharp sound shattered the fragile bubble they had created. A dog barked nearby, and a couple laughing down the path broke through their moment, pulling them back into the park's reality. Jack's heart sank slightly. Was this the sign of distraction, of doubt? Or was it something deeper, a test of their newfound resolve? Their eyes quickly met, and the question loomed larger than ever. Would they be able to draw strength from each other, or would the world outside pull them apart again? Jack took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of her hand in his, ready to face whatever came next. Would this fragile promise be enough to guide them into a brighter tomorrow? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park as Jack and Mia sat together, hands intertwined, the chaotic noise around them fading into a distant echo. It was just the two of them in that moment, standing on the precipice of change, ready to jump. Something fundamental shifted within Jack. He could feel it deep in his bones. This was their second chance. Together, Mia had said, and that word hung in the air between them like a shimmering thread, binding their shared hopes, fears, and dreams. Jack turned towards her, searching her face for the certainty he so desperately sought. So, what's our first step? He asked, unleashing a smile that felt like the first real spark of joy in ages. Mia hesitated for just a second, then finally exhaled, her breath touching the warmth of autumn air. I think I need to talk to my family. They need to understand what I've been battling. Jack nodded, heart swelling with admiration for her bravery. Yes. That's a great start. And I'll be right there with you. We're a team now. The flicker of fear in her eyes was quickly overshadowed by the determination that ignited in her. You really mean that? She asked, her voice a mix of hope and disbelief. Absolutely. Jack squeezed her hand, grounding them both. We're facing this together. Just like we've always said. No one should have to navigate their battles alone. Mia's face brightened, reflecting the warmth of the sunset kissing their surroundings. Thank you, Jack. I've spent so long feeling isolated in my struggles, thinking I have to face it all on my own. But hearing you say that, it feels like a safety net. They spent the rest of the day fanning the flames of conversation, opening up about their fears, dreams, and visions for a brighter future. Every word spoken chipped away at their doubts, stitching together the pieces of a relationship that had once felt lost. When they finally rose from that bench, the sun a tender memory on the horizon, Jack felt undeniably more hopeful. Let us take on the world, one step at a time, he said, embracing Mia's renewed spirit. And with every stride toward that park exit, he felt more confident about the future, one where love forged ties stronger than separation and obstacles. Days turned into weeks. Jack reached out to his father, Eli, who welcomed him home with open arms, fostering conversations that stretched into the night. The bond between father and son slowly mended like a fabric woven tighter with each shared laugh, every tear shed. Eli understood the profound transformation in Jack, just as it reflected in the growing love he shared with Lucy, the widow who had stood by him in the thick of it all. One evening, as they gathered for dinner, Jack glanced around the table. A sense of belonging wrapped around him like a warm blanket. It brought a smile to his face. I think I've finally figured it out, he said, excitement bubbling within. Life isn't about running away, it's about embracing each moment, the shadows and the light, together. Eli beamed at his son. You've made me proud, Jack. The journey isn't easy, but you're making the right choices. And there, at that moment, Lucy reached out and squeezed Jack's hand, unspoken assurance sparking in her affectionate gaze. You've shown both courage and grace. We're all learning how to love better, and you're leading the way. As the evening wore on, laughter filled the room, intermingling with the love that radiated in the soft glow of the kerosene lamps. Jack felt anew in this circle, surrounded by connections forged through trials, triumphs, and heartfelt moments. By the time the first blossoms of spring emerged, Jack had stepped into a new role within his community. He became an advocate for support, reaching out to those grappling with similar struggles, sharing his own journey as a beacon of hope. Mia, too, found her own light shining bright, reaching out to her family, facing her fears head-on. And through it all, they navigated love side by side, transforming challenges into victories. As for Eli, he and Lucy grew closer, nurturing a bond built on the foundations of past pain and present joy. Their love blossomed like the budding flowers outside, a reminder that healing blooms when given the chance. In the end, it wasn't just about facing chaos or navigating storms. It was about finding love in unexpected places, weaving together the threads of shared experiences, and discovering the strength that comes from vulnerability. As the sun set on that small town, casting a warm orange glow across the fields, families gathered closer, hearts intertwined in the light of renewed love and hope. Eli, Jack, Lucy, and Mia had all grappled with their pasts, only to emerge stronger, bolder, and more resilient than ever before. And with each passing day, they continued to build that bright future together, knowing that every step taken hand in hand would echo with the promise of transformation for all those they touched. Now, that's something to celebrate. So, if you felt inspired or moved by this story, you need to subscribe now to our channel. This is the moment to show your support for more heartwarming transformations like this one. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more incredible souls. And don't forget to comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear your thoughts. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation too. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support makes all the difference.